Hello Wizards! Today, we're introducing a revolutionary upgrade to our GTO trainer that'll change how you practice poker. Now you can practice full hands from pre-flop to river. Fully customize your session with arbitrary stack depths, positions, actions, and textures simultaneously. Select which hands you want to be dealt so that you can focus on the most important decisions. We're introducing a new RNG mode to help you hone in on your frequencies. Try out our new training drills tailored to your format. And we've completely overhauled the user interface to give you a smoother, better experience. Let's hop into the trainer so we can see how this works. So it folds to us on the button, and we open ace-5 suited. Big blind calls, and we flop 9-7-4 with a flush draw. On the right-hand side, we can see the info panel. This displays both players' ranges, gives us a range comparison that tells us the number of combinations, expected value, and equity of both players. The hand info section tells us the strength of our hand within our own range, the equity of our hand against our opponent's range, as well as our hand class. The range frequencies section describes how we should play our entire range in this spot rather than our specific hand. And of course, you can hide any of this information by selecting these icons. Let's start with a 73% bet here. Big blind calls, and you'll notice that everything in the info panel updates dynamically as we play through the hand. For example, it looks like my range prefers an overbet in this spot, so I'll go for an overbet. They call, and we'll just give up on the river. That was an interesting hand, so let's see how else we could have played it. Below the info panel, we see the history box, and here we can see hands we've already played, as well as more information about how to play those hands. I'll select this drop-down to expand each street. So it looks like I could have gone for a different strategy on the flop. For example, I could have chosen an overbet or even a smaller bet. Using the navigation tool at the top of the page, let's go back to the flop, select play from here, and take a different action. This time I'll try out a smaller bet. You can also change how your opponent responds. For example, maybe I want to see how to respond facing a big blind check raise. So I've selected the big blind's action facing our flop bet. I've selected change move, and we'll make them check raise instead. You also have the option to play as the opponent at any spot throughout the game tree. For example, I can select the big blind's action and click play as hero. Now we're playing in the big blind's shoes, facing this bet on this flop. As you can see, everything is fully customizable and you can navigate it however you like. So let's move on to the controls so you can learn a little bit more about how to control your session. Select this button to stop your session. Select this one to move on to the next hand. Replay the hand. Configure your session. But we'll talk more about this in just a moment. And select this study button to take a deep dive into the spot you're studying. This will open the solution browser with everything ready to go so you can study to your heart's content. When you're finished, select Practice to pick up where you left off. Game mode allows us to switch from full hand to a single spot, so we can drill the same decision point over and over again with single spot until we master it, or we could play the hand out to the river using full hand mode. Input mode allows us to choose between inputting actions or frequencies. Show results after will stop the hand and ask you to confirm your decision after either each mistake or each action. For example, if I have action selected and I click call, it'll stop the hand and give me the option to change my move. However, if I select mistake, it's only going to stop the hand once I make a blunder. Select these three dots to bring up a few more settings. Auto new hand determines how quickly you're dealt a new hand after yours is finished. You can leave it off, select 3 seconds, or select instant to get dealt a new hand immediately. Show hints is cheat mode. This displays the correct frequencies as you play. For example, here we can see call says 100%, indicating that's the best move. Show quick results will display instantaneous feedback as you play through the hand. You also have the option to remove the win streak or RNG icon. Now that we understand the controls, let's talk about performance. In the Stats tab, we can see the total moves played, the accuracy, and GTO Wizard score. The accuracy is simply the percentage of correct moves versus incorrect moves. That's also graphed down here. The GTO Wizard score is new. This score shows you how well you played. Picking all the best moves will net you the max amount of points. Lower frequency actions are scored according to their percentages. For mistakes, it's simple. The bigger the blunder, the more points you lose. At the bottom, we can see our total EV mistakes. That's our loss in big blinds for this session or for all time. Average action EV is our big blind loss per action, and average mistake EV is our big blind loss per mistake in action. Lastly, I suggest you try out this focus mode. This will remove the clutter so you can zone in on what's important. Hover your mouse over the right-hand side to bring up the info and history box. Go to the left to bring up the controls and your stats. And go to the top to bring up the menu. When you're done, press F to return to normal. And that's all there is to it. Now that you know how to play, let's talk about how you can customize your session. If you don't know where to start, I suggest starting with one of these preset drills. Here I've selected blind versus blind. We can see that we're in the small blind is hero, and our opponent is in the big blind. However, you can also select multiple heroes and multiple opponents. That means that we're going to be playing one of the hero seats against our opponent in one of the opponent seats. Below this, we see the starting spot. We can select preflop, flop, or any custom node throughout the tree. Preflop actions let you define what happens before it gets to you. So RFI means it's going to fold to us and we'll have the option to raise first in. But you can select any arbitrary set of preflop actions, or alternatively, you can use new hand and that's going to play just how it would in game. Let's dive into the advanced settings so we can get a little more specific. I'll be using MTT solutions for this example. Select your solution type. Here I've selected with limps. Here you can select your stack depth. And this is one of the greatest new features, randomized stack depths. So you can define, for example, if you just want to practice deep spot or short stack stuff or mid stack stuff or all of the above. We've already talked about how you can define the starting spot pre or post flop, pre-flop actions, and set the positions for hero and your opponent. We can also define the relative hero position such that we're always in or out of position, or we can alternate. From the board tab, you can choose specific flops, turns, and rivers. Alternatively, you can select different textures. For example, maybe you want to practice flush draw paired disconnected boards that are, ace high with a low card. Make it as specific or as broad as you like. From the hands tab, we can select which hands we want to be dealt. We don't always want to be folding 7-2, so we can use this slider to select a specific range of hands, or you can customize it however you like. This means that hero will only be dealt a hand within this range. Under the Modes tab, we have the option to change some of the settings I showed earlier, such as the game mode, input mode, when we're shown results, how quickly we're dealt a new hand, and one of my favorite new options, RNG mode. So RNG mode is going to apply the RNG to your decisions. I've selected high RNG. That means that when I roll high, for example, if I roll 100, I should take the most aggressive action. If I click low, I should select the most aggressive action when I roll lowest, or we can turn it off. Now, RNG mode will define what is considered the best action as opposed to the correct action, and it's also going to affect the GTO Wizard score. In future updates, you'll be able to set how many hands you want in the session, you'll be able to multi-table, and you'll also be able to choose a time bank to add a little more pressure to your practice. Lastly, under display, we can turn off and on different helpful things, such as the stuff in the info tab, the ranges, quick results that are shown after each move, win streak icons, and so on. Once you're happy, click confirm and select start training. And now you're ready for the ultimate GTO training experience. The next update will allow you to save and customize your own training drills, as well as browse and filter through practiced hands. Following that, we plan to introduce time bank, multi-tabling, and detailed reports and statistics about your play. That's it for the video, guys. We hope you enjoy it. Please let us know what you think, and if you have any great ideas for improvement, let us know in our Discord, link in the description.